I've changed the background again because apparently you're not meant to do that, and I'm such a rebel. I love to live on the edge. Now, in all seriousness, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just playing with some ideas. I'm experimenting. I'm being agile. Anyway, ScrumMaster Screw-Ups this week. I want to talk about the time when I tried to impose pair programming onto a developer. So check this out. XP, the engineering practices, we hired in a contract developer. Can't say the name of a firm. They were like a PR marketing firm in London, 2012 or 13. The developer comes in, does like a dojo, talks about the importance of pair programming. It's shown to improve the quality of code. You've got one primary developer, one secondary, a quick feedback loop, tacit knowledge and misunderstanding is reduced. The quality of the code goes up, and some good things and loads of data and studies around the benefits of pair programming. And a lot of the team are behind it. They're quite excited. Some a bit more outward with their excitement, some less so. And then what we found was one of the developers, he was less enthusiastic about it, and he kind of went along with it. When we started doing our daily scrums and people were talking about the work they were doing, we had a pair of developers, and one person would be providing the update because everybody was trying to pair. What we found was the one developer who wasn't too enthusiastic about it, and I think that was known to everyone, he was providing his own update. I started to notice that the pairing thing wasn't happening. It was coming up in the retro. It was a little bit of an elephant in the room. Everybody's pairing, this one person's not pairing. And why don't you want to pair? Because there's no downside to pairing, right? I kind of raised it in the retro, how we're getting on this improvement item. We said we wanted to pair. We couldn't pair on everything, but on the whole, most of the development team pairing up and pair programming. We started scooting around the issue with the one person who wouldn't, and I raised it. That person was kind of passive about it. They didn't really want to get into it, but what we learned was they didn't really want to do it. So I pursued it a bit. I was like, look, this is a team thing. It's important that as a team we make a decision. We said we'd give it a go. And I kind of nudged it. I could see it wasn't getting anywhere. I backed off. With this team, I was there in this company for around 4 or 5 months, and I moved internally. I bumped back into the developer who didn't want to pair program. We met in a different type of capacity. He was providing some sort of subject matter expertise for a new team I was working with, was building. And the product owner wanted to bring this gentleman in. What that resulted in was me and this dude working more closely. Over time, over the next 6 weeks, we did spend more time. The pair program thing come up, and it come up in the form of banter. And I was like, what was it about it? And it was like, it's not for everyone. He wasn't being dismissive, but he just wasn't getting into it. He began to explain to me why he didn't want to pair. It was the most simple of reasons. Like, he's just talking about personal things. Sometimes I just want to read the news. I want to look at Sky Sports and look at fantasy football. And what he was getting across to me was he didn't want to be judged, he wanted his own space. He didn't want to be looked upon as someone who wasn't, professional. The way I communicated back was, I don't think anyone would see you as less professional because you want a little time out to read the news or look at your fantasy football. I don't know if it was a generational thing. I don't know if it was something that happened in the past when he'd paired and somebody made a comment about a website he looked at and it wasn't to do with work. Just because there is what you believe to be, a good practice and you don't believe there's a downside to it, don't always assume that the way that you see this practice or this idea or this pattern working for the team will be shared by everyone. Take time to take a step back, come away from the team, have that little one-to-one time, have that little catch-up, stay curious, because this developer, it was a trust thing, really. And they felt that they didn't really want other developers to look at what they were doing when they were having a little breather. It was an education for me. And I realised that there's something going on for that person as well. Maybe they just don't want to pair because they don't feel comfortable with it. And they weren't comfortable to open up. And they may have been had I had kind of backed off a little bit and been less forceful as well, There is such a thing as being wrong, even when you're trying to help people with what is a good idea, which is pairing or pair programming. Okay, I hope that ScrumMaster Scrub was useful. Please do like and subscribe. I'm getting into the swing now of these scrubs, and I'll be back next week with some more. Thanks for watching.